Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Hi, my name is Michelle Keach, and welcome to Street Stories 2. Today I'll be your MC. First, we'd like to acknowledge Ojibwe Knowledge Keeper Tim Bone to offer us an opening prayer. Hello.
If you can rise, please rise. And if you can't, I understand, it's okay. In our way of life, it's the first thing to speak. There is no right way or wrong way of praying. It's just pray from the heart. That's where the truth is. I was told by our spiritual people that our mind messes us up. Our truth is in our heart. So we need to start doing that, understanding that, having that faith on what we're doing. I ask kindly, in a humble way, I'm going to introduce myself. I should have to introduce myself first. Bonjour, Anishinaabe, Makade Makwa, Originando Disneycast. Ever flow no heed, Kisi no heed, Makwa no them. What I said in the Ojibwe language, translated into the English language, is my name is Black Bear Warrior. I come from Everglow First Nation, and also Kisi, my Elphinstone First Nation. And my clan is the Bear Clan. So, today, it's a beautiful day. Creator blessed us with some nibe, some water. Thank you to the thunder beings as well that brought that rain, that nibe for us today, so as we cleanse Mother Earth. So, with that, like I was saying, there's no right way or wrong way of praying. Pray from the heart. And I'm going to help you as well today. So here we go. Forgive me, grandmother and grandfather's creator, for this foreign language that I'm using. Take pity in me in that. Because I lost my language as a little boy. I was shamed because I wanted to be somebody that I wasn't truly in this way. So I asked grandmother and grandfather's creator to look after me in this way. But I also asked grandmother and grandfather's creator to look after each and every one of us here today. For those are the ones that are sick, the ones that are homeless, the ones that are in pain, suffer from trauma. I ask in a kind, humble way that you look after each and every one of them and hear their truth, their stories today. As their truth comes out, hopefully they get that healing that they need, grandmothers, grandfathers. To have understanding within themselves, to speak out about their pain, and to let it go in a good way. Because there's so much support grandmothers and grandfathers created in this world today to help us through these things, to help us guide us in a good way of life so we can succeed, and that there is no more substance use addiction, alcoholism, and homelessness. I ask grandmothers and grandfathers creator to look after each and every one of us today, the organizers, the people here at the university, our children, our grandchildren, look after each and every one of us. Give us that strength and that courage to keep going in a positive way. That understanding of compassion and that true unconditional love. I say may wish to get more from this stuff, wish to money too. For this beautiful day you've given us today. Also, Mother Earth. Thank you for allowing us to be here. You give us so much, and we expect so more. But you know, Mother Earth will look after you, just like you look after us. So, G.B. words to get much of us, Dr. Mashkidi Mane too. Thank you very much. Amen. Have a beautiful day, everybody. God bless.
The Action Research of Chronic Homelessness Project in Brandon, known as the ARCH Project, is an Indigenous, culturally, and community-based research project that started in November of 2023. And it's in the final stretch of its funding that will be ending in September. ARCH has studied the paths that lead Indigenous people from rural and remote communities into homelessness in Brandon. Funded by Housing, Infrastructure, and Communities Canada, this research looked for ways Indigenous people can be safely housed in the communities of their choice. Between November of 2023 and February of 2024, the ARCH Project interviewed 102 Indigenous people in Brandon who were living unhoused or had recently lived unhoused. These storytellers and knowledge keepers generously shared their stories that led to homelessness and their insightful ideas and solutions to reduce homelessness and improve the lives in our city. This Street Stories 2 event will share updates and stories about the projects that came from these interviews that were announced at the first Street Stories event in April of 2024. Please be aware that some of these stories and updates shared today may be upsetting and triggering for people. Topics covered will include adoption, foster care, residential schools, fire, sexual assault, abuse, violence, and other distressing themes. If you need some extra support during this event, we have aunties, cookums, and kunchis, I hope I said that properly, ready to, is it not good? I thank you. Give me a moment. Ready to love you with bannock, smudging, or hugs. They're the ones wearing the brightly colored kokum scarves. There's a few of us here. If you need a quiet place to reflect, there's a smudging room and a quiet space available in the green room out the doors to the left of the stage. Stories we are sharing today have been edited for length and clarity. As some interviewees wish to remain anonymous, stories will be read by community members. Marvin and his big drum group, the Rolling Thunder Boys, will be drumming and singing. And for many of our participants, sharing and drumming in front of a crowd is a new experience for them. So please be encouraging as you join us on this journey. And please turn off your cell phones and no flash photography. We would like to acknowledge the spirits who have passed on from our community over the last few years, especially people who shared their stories and wisdom with Arch or participated in the Arch research projects. There is a memorial table in the foyer where you can go and reflect. At the memorial table, there are papers where you can write your memories, reflections, and prayers that will be later burned in a sacred fire. There are washrooms on both sides of the foyer that are equipped with sharps containers. And if you would like to read our final reports when they are released, please leave us your email address at the welcome table in the lobby. And after the stories have been told, please join us for stew, bannock, and conversation downstairs. We want to acknowledge the current state of emergency in Manitoba and Saskatchewan and the difficulties experienced by our friends and relatives in the north. We keep them in our hearts and in our prayers.
During his interview, Marcel Ben noted that some homeless people don't know what's happening in the community. He was particularly concerned about people who have difficulties reading. Abby echoed Marcel's comment, saying that there needs to be a better way to share information with the homeless community. One concern that was raised several times by interviewees was the difficulties that newly arrived people in the community have finding homelessness services. Some folks, like Leonard Vandal, commented on how they make an effort to help newcomers to Brandon. In response to these barriers, a pilot project titled Word on the Street was launched in October of 2024. Word on the Street is a downtown news broadcast that is updated weekly or bi-weekly with beneficial information for the downtown community. Arch staff reached out to multiple high-traffic agencies for the downtown population, and we set up TV screens to make the information more accessible. Word on the Street provides information on current toxic drug alerts, changes in service hours, inclement weather warnings, community events such as feasts or funerals, and information on different services in Brandon. Word on the Street has the potential to be used for a variety of things, including missing persons announcements. Despite some early challenges with technology and sound quality, Word on the Street was welcomed by the community. People enjoyed seeing local places and familiar faces. One local resident, having seen Word on the Street on the screen at 7th Street Health Access, ran into our office and he told us that, "You guys are movie stars. I saw you on the TV." In November of 2024, staff began to conduct surveys with the downtown population to get their feedback. Survey participants have stated that the drug alerts have been very helpful for their safety. One young man stated that he no longer uses substances alone due to the large number of toxic supply alerts. Participants stated that they have shared information about toxic substance supplies with their friends and encouraged them to be more cautious. This is a large success for Word on the Street, as it has the potential to reduce instances of toxic substance poisoning or death, because people are aware of toxic supplies and are being more cautious. Participants have also spoken about learning of different services that agencies offer that they did not previously know about, which has broadened their service access. One person noted that they learned about the point-in-time count resource fair, and they attended as a result. Another interviewee appreciated learning about changes in hours at a local service agency. It is an innovative way to get information out to those who need it the most. As a result of ideas and suggestions from interviews with Word on the Street viewers, Word on the Street monitors have been installed in more locations around Brandon. Manitoba Harm Reduction Network Brandon will continue to use Word on the Street to broadcast information of interest to our downtown community.
The following is an excerpt from an interview with Darcy Audie conducted on November 2023. Darcy was a Swampy Cree man from Indian Birch and was well known in the downtown Brandon. On June 6 of 2024, Darcy began his journey to the spirit world at the age of 44. His story will be read by Henry.
So you were born in Swan River and your family is from Swan River as well?
Yeah, Indian Birch area. Barons River, I was growing up with my grandparents. That's why I was taught so much respect.
How was it with them?
It was good. They taught me respect. I started learning at an early age from lots of people. What they did, how they did things, and their mistakes. I was a fast learner. We went to powwows and sweat lodge. The first sweat lodge I went to, I got my spirit name given to me. And that was the last time I went to a sweat. At the end, a guy came to me at the sweat and said, "The guy gave me your spiritual name." Back on the res, I grew up in a house that had nothing and had no house when I was 14. For years, we didn't have a government help thing. Then we got our first band home and welfare and all that. I only went to school as far as grade 6, and I dropped out at the beginning of grade 7.
Why did you drop out of school?
I don't know. I was up north, and the teacher said, "You don't have to be here." I jumped up and said, "Fucking right. I'm going home to go get high."
How old were you the first time you had an experience with your correctional system?
I was 11 or 12, something like that.
What led up to that?
Break and enters, I guess, different places, stores in Birchwood River. Didn't really know anything about B&Es on all that. Birch River's the closest town.
How old were you when you came to Brandon?
Well, I first came here at 17 years old. The cops said they didn't need another asshole like me around, so they put me on a bus and told them, "Okay, I'll see you in 20 years."
Did they really?
Yeah, and then I came back 20 years later and seen that cop. He stopped to see who I was and everything. And I told him, "You don't remember me, do you? 20 years ago, the cop goes, 'Oh yeah, it's you.'"
So you were 17 and the police just put you on a bus?
Yeah, then I came back to Brandon, but been here for like 16 years now. I've always been helping people since I've been here, giving them shit and, helping them try to move on. Understand life and whatever they want to work toward.
I think we covered everything unless there's anything else you want to share with me.
Keep strong. You got to be strong. I always had patience growing up and taking anybody's bullshit. But at the end of the day, all you got is that.
The following is an excerpt from the interview with a man who chooses to go by the name Blackie. It will be read by Jordan.
So where is your home community?
I don't really have a home, so nowhere. I don't know.
So where did you grow up?
In foster care, all over the place. I had no home.
What did life look like growing up in foster care? What kind of experiences did you have there?
Not many of them were very good. Racism and, how people view us for being a burden, yada, yada. Being used as money.
Is there a lot of that?
Way too much of it. Way too much.
Were you very connected with your culture?
Not really. Most of them were white families. They put me in a Native group home in Winnipeg. I got to learn a lot about Native culture. I learned how to hoop dance and play drums and pick sweet grass and tobacco and make prayers to the Creator.
Do you know if you have any siblings?
I have 2 brothers and 1 sister that I know of. I'm the youngest.
Can I ask if you're close with them?
I didn't really meet most of them until I was an adult. The only one I was close to was my older brother, the one older than me. But we got separated after 5 years at the age of 10. When we were in Winnipeg in a group home, I've pretty much been on my own since.
Where did you go to school growing up?
Different schools in whichever town they'd put me in, whatever the family would put me in. Usually I went to school, but not always. This one home kept me in a closet under the stairs. They kept me in a closet for over a year. The school called and told them that I had to go to school legally. So they let me out to go to school and then back in at lunch and out again for the rest of school, but then back in at the end of the day.
So when you did go to school, what was it like for you?
It was different, I guess. It was nice to get an escape from the abuse, but I didn't really fit in anywhere, so.
Have you had any personal experiences with the correctional system?
Not yet. I haven't gone to jail yet. It's probably going to happen at some point because I'd be a fool to say that I won't ever go to jail. There aren't many legal things you can do as a homeless person, legally, to make money. Not that I'm promoting illegal activities, but the system doesn't really make it easy, considering the judgment the judgment people get for being homeless. For going to a place to get a job looking like the way I do, with all my jackets on, because I can't afford heat, I can't afford to shower all the time, it decreases my chances of getting a job or a place because of the way I look, regardless of the way I hold myself, or the way I present myself, or the way I act.
I see. Did you choose to come here to Brandon?
Kind of. It was kind of just where I ended up after I grew up in CFS. I was in Rivers for a while, with what remains of my family, I guess. I don't know. Brandon just became my place where I was going to be. It was still close to my community or whatever, but it wasn't like Rivers, where people are poking out their windows being nosy and everything.
Do you have any ties with any Indigenous reserves or communities?
I lived in a foster home outside of Kisikun Reserve. I found out afterwards I was related to them through my mother's side.
Oh, they're from Kisi? You said you kind of ended up in Brandon. Was there another place that you wanted to live?
Kind of, not really. I kind of just, growing up the way I lived, being all over the place, I kind of just learned to go with the flow. Brandon's kind of a dead end. I'm just stuck here. I have my kids, and I guess I'm just stuck here. I want to leave eventually because there's nothing here. There's no way to progress yourself or make something of yourself here. So I've been here as long as I have. I'm already viewed by the majority of the population who either know of me or see me around as a certain way. I've been homeless a lot of my life.
When you say a certain way, can you expand on that?
Usually with prejudice. People view me as less than them or feel pity for me, sorry for me, and I don't like either of that. I'm no different from them. I just don't have a house. I'm a grade 12 graduate. I'm a smart person who does reading on quantum theory, philosophy, and psychology. I just don't have a house, and because of that, I can't progress.
So is there another place that you'd like to live?
Eventually, I want to go to Tibet and live with the monks. I feel like there's a lot of soul searching I need to seek out and find my position in this world.
The next interview is from a Dakota man who chooses to use the name God. It will be read by Zach.
Were the houses you grew up in safe?
Can you define safe? Because for me, safe would be like, I don't know, make it through the night. That's safe. Growing up, I came from a line of residential school survivors. My parents dealt with that, and their parents dealt with that, so I guess abuse was just kind of a normal thing for me. That's what my parents do, and that's all of what I kind of know.
Speaking of your parents and your grandparents, what does your family look like?
I have 6 siblings. I have 2 sisters, and I had 3 brothers. I had a brother that passed away in 2016.
Were you close to your siblings growing up?
Me and my oldest sister were always placed in foster care together. When we were younger, we always had visits to my brothers, but as we got older, they kind of just split us up and kind of just ghosted us. They made it seem like we didn't want to see each other, and that wasn't the case.
What was your schooling like?
I've been over 30 elementary schools, I think. I've been pretty much every single school in Brandon. Been up to 5 schools in Winnipeg, and I went to a school in Portage.
Did you graduate?
No, Never took high school, but I do have a high school credit.
How did you get that credit?
I was incarcerated in Agassiz Youth Center.
How old were you when you first had experience with the correctional system?
I grew up in there. Since I was old enough to go to jail, that's been my life. I was 13 years old.
How was corrections when you were younger?
Being a youth, there was a lot of support and a lot of trying to get you on the right path. Being in Agassiz taught me a lot. They taught me a lot of my social skills and my I statements. It taught me a lot. They're very supportive of a lot of things.
And how do you feel about corrections as an adult?
Oh, it's garbage. Just from scenarios that I've been in, the corrections staff don't care because you're an adult. You make your choices, you're here. They don't offer programming in some jails. They just pretty much want you to sit there and rot.
Is programming something that you think would really help you if you were on the inside?
Yeah, programming would be a huge benefit to everybody.
How old were you when you first left your home community?
I don't think I moved home until I was 3. My grandmother looked after me because I was with CFS when I was born.
Were you in CFS care on reserve or taken off reserve?
I wasn't on reserve till I was 3. That's the closest memory I have about being taken home. That was when my dad was still alive anyways. The last time I remember being out there.
How many foster homes do you think you were in throughout your life?
I'd say at least over 20, all over Manitoba. Erickson, all over southern Manitoba pretty much.
Wow. So as an adult, if there's anything available on reserve to you, would you still be living back home, or is Brandon kind of where you want to be?
Honestly, I had made up my mind by the time I moved to Brandon because I didn't want to stay out there anymore.
And why did you decide Brandon?
Because it was the closest city. I have friends and family here. It's not too far from my family to travel if they want to come see me. I know my way around here. I don't have to worry about getting lost or getting jumped or anything.
Do you remember how old you were when you decided to move to Brandon?
There was a couple times. I lived in Brandon back and forth. To me, Brandon always seemed like home. I don't know why, I just stay here.
What has it been like for you trying to find housing?
Well, being who I am and what I do, I have a bunch of tattoos. It's harder for me to socialize with landlords and lawyers and employers. As soon as they see my tattoos, they start assuming and thinking the worst.
So you feel like you get judged a lot?
Yeah, the odd time I have people come up to me like, oh, hey, cool tattoos. But for the most part, I just have people looking up at me from the corner of their eyes, watching me. And my last landlord passed away, so he would have been a good reference too.
How old do you think you were the very first time you experienced homelessness?
About 23.
What was the lead up to that?
Leaving my reserve, I had a place to stay, a house, clothes, food. I had everything out there. It just wasn't for me, but by moving to Brandon, it felt it would help lead me on a better path, but it kind of didn't.
During Arch's interviews with community members, interviewees raised concerns about the systemic problems and community program gaps that result in people becoming homeless upon discharge from provincial correctional facilities. 68% of Arch's interviewees indicated that involvement in the correction system was part of their journey into homelessness. Many cited specific concerns related to their release, such as being released into homelessness, being stranded after release without adequate transportation, or not having the resources that they need to survive. In the fall of 2024, Arch compiled data from 55 people who left Brandon Correctional Center over the previous year and sought the assistance of an agency that provides support to people living unhoused. The data demonstrates the systemic failure of Manitoba justice to provide inmates with resources to meet their immediate needs upon release. This is a major contributing factor to recidivism and homelessness. We also acknowledge that the actual number of people needing these resources is likely higher than these self-reported numbers. We found that people were frequently lacking the following list of resources. 75% reported being unable to access housing supports. 80% were unable to access addiction services, such as appointments or treatment. 62% were released with inadequate clothing, and 73% did not receive the employment and income assistance that they needed. Over half of people were unable to access photo identification services or order a birth certificate while incarcerated. Interestingly, each of these services or supplies are guaranteed by the province of Manitoba under the Correctional Services Act, Manitoba Corrections Divisional Policy, or Brandon Correctional Center's standing orders. Furthermore, people being released from Brandon Correctional Center frequently reported that they did not have medications, glasses, mobility, hearing aids, or other accessibility devices, access to cell phone, dental care or dentures, hygiene supplies, food, or banking. Brandon Correctional Center standing orders guarantee the provision of other urgent concerns for those being released. Other concerns raised included utilizing shelters as a release address, release conditions that are unrealistic, a lack of proper assessments, such as intellectual disability and GLADU reports, no cultural supports, a lack of connection to government support agencies, and a lack of life skill development opportunities. Arch Brandon met with staff from the Manitoba Department of Justice in December 2024 to report our findings. A team from the province of Manitoba came to Brandon in January 2025 to meet with the Arch Brandon team and various community partners about the pathway from corrections into homelessness in Brandon. The province is currently working on a plan to address these concerns.
Tasha Lynn Brass was a personable Swampy Cree woman from Birch River. She had a great sense of humor. She was loving, friendly, and sweet. She was interviewed in November of 2023, and she began her journey to the spirit world on June 7th, 2024, at the age of 23. Her story will be read by Season.
You grew up in Swan River?
Yeah, I was stolen from my own father. Then my mom didn't want me.
And what was life like for you while you were growing up?
I grew up only with my father. I grew up normal, but was very, very abused.
What do you mean by grew up normal?
I don't know, it's hard to explain because my father raised me, then used me. Now, I don't have any of that. I started a new life. Yeah.
Did you have any siblings growing up?
I have older siblings. I have an older brother. He's got his own family, 5 girls and 4 boys. And then I have my sister. She has schizophrenia and a mood disorder. She got her own kids. Older sister, yeah. And then I have a little baby brother. We were all close.
So growing up, did you attend school?
Mm-hmm. Chief Charles Audie Memorial School. It's a trailer shed. Like one of those blue buildings.
And that's in Birch River?
Yeah, but in 2011, there was a flood evacuation that happened. We all got Red Cross to pay our tickets to the Delta Hotel. We stayed at the Delta after the evacuation and slowly transitioned into living into Winnipeg.
And how old were you when that happened?
I was 10 or 11. We stayed there until like 2015 after I had my son.
So if the flooding didn't happen in your home community, do you think that you would have stayed there?
Yeah. The scary part about that is that there's a Sasquatch or something in that reserve in the bushes. I looked at it and I was so terrified. You know, when you run away from something, you think it'll chase you or the dogs will attack you or something. I didn't run. I walked slowly away and tried not to startle it.
Was it big?
Oh, it was big.
I would have been out of there, like, see ya. Did most people go back to the community after the flooding, or were there quite a few that stayed in Winnipeg after 2011?
Most of them went back right away.
So is Brandon where you want to be living, or do you find yourself kind of stuck here?
I don't find myself stuck here. I would rather be on the road, physically, anywhere.
If you could pick anywhere that you could live, where would it be?
Prince Edward Island.
It's beautiful out there. So you went to Winnipeg after the flood, and in 2015 you came to Brandon.
I never came to Brandon. I finally just started being homeless from drugs, alcohol, and the street. I'm actually trying to make up my mind and settle. I'm waiting on a place to open up so I can have a place of my own and home to bring my granny, so I don't have to go home to her in the ground. I'd rather her be at home in my home and sitting there playing cards.
So you'd like to live with your granny here in Brandon?
Yeah, I'd want her to move to Brandon.
I guess it's safe to assume that you have a very good relationship with your granny. Do you get to talk to her very often?
No, not often, no. It's good though, because me and her, we like to nag each other.
So have you found that it's easy to talk with landlords to try to get housing?
I don't have much help here. I already did a bunch of application forms for houses, all in Brandon. I did a bunch of them, and I haven't received any intake on any of them.
Can you think of any services or resources that would have been helpful for you to have to prevent your situation right now?
I should have planned better. Like, I should have did forms online already and started phoning around, but technically, I didn't even do that. I didn't have the opportunity to start to look for a place when I was just put, right here.
What kind of things would have helped you?
I have problems. I have severe PTSD and I have anxiety, a very traumatic over the past, what me and my father had. It's a tricky question. They nag you about when you're growing up, what was your dream, like that. I don't get it now, because as an adult, all my dreams are nightmares. But I guess that's a good part when you don't know how to dream. You just think of your nightmares, right?
Is there anything that you can think of that we as a community here in Brandon could be doing to help support people better?
Maybe more groups, right? Group activities. If you see somebody that's looking like they're tired, they actually might be homeless. Maybe just picking them up and taking them to a function or take them to church where you go and meet other people. I don't know.
What kinds of activities do you like to do?
I used to be very, very spiritual. I still am, but I just have no use for it in this phase of my life right now. One day, I'll get back to it, but for now, I want to drink and drink and drink. I miss my mom and my son and dad. Just miss my old life. Now, I don't think about it, but I'm going to build myself up and be patient. I'm not going to be getting mad in public and acting all out because I don't have a home. I know how to treat myself like self-care or taking care of myself. It's always good to treat yourself, but not all the time.
It's all about balance, eh?
Yeah, not really negative. If I'm negative, I get it off the vibe of another person, because that's their negativity, and I'm not negative unless I think it's necessary to be.
You try to focus on the positive things.
Yeah, I miss my old job. I used to do housekeeping at the South Beach Casino, too. It was a very good job, very formal, very strict, hands-on work.
Were you living in Brokenhead at the time?
I was in foster care with my son and my brother when they got apprehended. Yeah. That was when I was 18. And then at 20, I was already left homeless in Winnipeg by a foster mom, by my son's foster mom. So yeah, this wouldn't be the first time I guess I'm homeless. I've been in the system with CFS, who would drop off kids homeless, and that's what happened to me.
Do you think you'd ever like to do housekeeping stuff like you did before?
Yeah, it's a good job. I miss it.
South Beach Casino, eh? I've lost a lot of money there. It just takes me to the cleaner every time.
Aw.
Is there anything that you could think of that could be done in the CFS system to support people better before they age out?
I would say that I don't have a family, but technically I could. Technically, family don't even help you. My family won't help me, and especially where I'm native, and my family are natives, they don't really care. Yeah, they don't care. I care, I could say that. I care for how they say hi, or they say, you want to come home for supper, little sentimental sentences.
That kind of ties into what you were saying, the idea of making group activities so that people can find other community.
Yeah, so it's not always just straight drugs.
Do you think something like a cultural program would work?
Yeah, or hunting trips. Take somebody out on a weird hunting trip. Go scare them. Go spotlighting, snares. Go make trails in the bush. Yeah.
Chelsea Cote was a kind-hearted Indigenous woman and an artist from Swan River. She was well known to generously give her art and sweet thank you notes to people. She was interviewed by the Arch team in November of 2023, and on February 17th of 2024, Chelsea began her journey to the spirit world at the age of 36. Her story will be read by her friend, Talix.
My dad knew someone in Swan River. I went up there for a while to work with this person. Then I met my boyfriend up there. Then my relationship issues. They were making me crazy. And all of a sudden, one day, he got hit in the head with a crowbar. I don't know by who, but it wasn't me. But I got blamed for that. My probation officer actually drove me out here for my safety because my brother-in-law was going to kill me out there.
Because he thought you were involved?
Yeah, I moved out here to Brandon.
How long ago was that?
4 years ago, the first time. Then I went back to Swan River. Stuff happened again, and I wanted to come back to Brandon, but I was stuck out there. I was homeless. Even there, the people I knew, they wouldn't let me in their house. I was renting, but my uncle just kicked me out when he got drunk. He was like, "Get out!"
So you ended up homeless in Swan River. When was that?
3 years ago. After that, my Auntie Lori wouldn't let me stay at her house. I begged her to take me in again, but she wouldn't. So I hitchhiked back this way. I think it's my drug use that made me homeless, and letting people in my house, and her flooding up the place. She put the faucet on the sink. She was abusing me at my house.
Is that the place here in Brandon?
Yeah, I'm Brandon. I used to take off from my house for weeks. Then one day she got mad and came back, flooded the whole house, caused $6,000 worth of damage. We got evicted then. I can't get any housing because of that. I never explained to the landlord what happened, what was going on. Maybe he'd understand what was going on. I didn't tell anybody. She was abusing me, I didn't want to stay there. I wonder if he would understand that. But then he put me on the blacklist.
So you left because you weren't feeling safe where you were?
Yeah, she was abusing me. She would break my house all the time when she was drunk. She was a drug dealer too, so I wasn't safe. I don't know what else to say. My mom died, passed away on pills.
When did that happen?
I was probably 29 years old. I also got blamed for her death. So my sister doesn't talk to me anymore. Because I asked my mom to get her pills ordered early, and then she passed away, choking on her puke because she was all high. My sister and my brothers blamed me for her death. So I don't talk to them no more. So I'm homeless starting from there.
When you were young, you lived with your parents the whole time?
Yeah, my dad was living in Swan River. That's when I met Matthew.
The boyfriend who got hit?
Yeah, many people I meet are crazy old men.
So you hang out with them?
I don't go with them or nothing. Once I got this disability, though, I paid him. But he's been a bad friend lately. I always give him gifts and that and stuff out of my hamper and stuff. But he's been treating me like that, thinking that I'm stealing or I got him evicted. It's himself that did that, letting someone else stay there. I didn't do nothing like that. He always wants me to give him alcohol or jib or something just to visit him.
Do you think that your friends have similar stories or similar struggles?
Sometimes I think they overdid it with letting themselves go. They're looking after themselves, their clothing. They should do more for themselves. They just suffer. They don't help themselves or something like that. They don't care about hygiene no more, but they should. You have to look proper, right? Just a little bit decent. It's the way they have to look. Can't look too homeless. I need my eyebrows on to cash a check because it looks messed up.
Is that a problem, trying to get the bank to cash checks?
Sometimes with the money market guys anyway.
They treat you differently based on your appearance?
Sometimes, yeah.
If you don't have eyebrows on, they might not cash your check.
Yeah. Can't look like you're struggling too much. My mom and dad used me for money lots, though. They made me bankrupt. That's why I'm so broke to this day. They didn't teach me nothing or show me nothing. I didn't get my driver's license, nothing like that. My sisters and brothers know how to drive. They all have their own lives, though. They're older than me. They should have did more for me when I told them what I like to do and my talents and stuff. They should have did stuff like that for me, put money down and things like that. Maybe I wouldn't be so unsuccessful. My parents used to be drinking all the time, but they let us drink, stuff like that.
When you were younger?
Yeah, one time my mom and dad were drinking. My dad went into the bush to go to work. My mom had a huge party and my uncle came and bothered me. That messed up my tissue where I can't have kids. I haven't had kids because I'm all messed up. I choose to have a family, but I can't. I have to adopt if I want one, but it would mean I have to quit my drugs and drinking, and I can't do that.
What kind of things here in Brandon would help?
Being female is hard. Even worse, it's hard to be female with men.
What would make it easier as a woman being homeless?
I don't think nothing can help. They should make a place. They should have their own groups where they sit together and do like what we're doing and talking about right now. They should tell about their life stories, like what we're doing right now. Each one of these homeless girls should talk to each other instead of always ignoring sharing and not talking to each other.
Like all the women should get together and share and talk to each other.
Like they should talk about who they are and the things they like and do art stuff. They should do some art stuff together, just to be together.
Instead of being all separate, you think they'd be better off all together?
All of the homeless come together.
During the initial ARCH interviews, women spoke about wanting a safe space that was filled with culture, music, and laughter, and supports from those with lived experience founded upon the principles of the 7 sacred teachings. They wanted a place where they could help each other heal. They wanted to craft together and eat together. They wanted access to laundry facilities, showers, safe place to keep their belongings. One of the first women to speak about this during the interviews was Chelsea Cody. Her dream was a place where women could do art together, where women could share stories together, and develop relationships with each other. The ideas of the vision of our interviewees came to life with a woman's safe house opened on May 2024 as a way to keep her memory alive and honor her vision. We chose the name Chelsea Safe House. ARCH established an agreement with Manitoba Métis Federation Southwest Region to manage Chelsea Safe House. The house is direct response of the MMIWG2S, calls the action, providing safety of the most at-risk women within the community. Arch Brandon oversees the pilot project from May until the end of November 2024, when the Women Gender Equality Manitoba took over funding and the site of the MMF continues the safe house. Chelsea Safe House is repurposed 3-story house that was previously a trap house known as the Meth Mansion. The house was undergone extensive renovations to transform it into a home filled with laughter, food, activities. Chelsea Safe House has 8 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. Chelsea Safe House has a difficult start with an arsonist burning the porch of the house within weeks of the opening. And after the short stay in the hotel, residents were able to return safely to Chelsea's Safe House. In June, tragedy struck when new residents Tasheen Brass died suddenly while away from the home. We are thankful that we were able to share some of her story here with you today. In the Indigenous communities, home is more than just structure over people's heads. Home means relationship, kinship, connections, traditions, ancestors, belongings. Chelsea Safe House is rooted in the principle of the 7 teachings. During the Arch Project programming activities, Chelsea Safe House were based on the knowledge gathered from interviews and interests, needs of the women currently residing at the home. The initial 6-month project of Chelsea's Safe House was more successful than anticipated. When the Arch conducted holding stones assessments with the residents in the fall of 2024, all the women accessed indicated that they had felt safer in the home. Overall, there was remarkable increase in number of protective factors in women's lives, including access to food, income, clothing, medical, and other services. A number of women who have previously fallen through the cracks demonstrated success with the relationship and the culturally based home. Women said that it was important to them that they have a safe sleep. Some women indicated that they have reduced their street drugs, while others entered substance treatment. Residents have engaged in positive activities based on interest, including beading, cooking, baking, painting, growing plants, playing bingo, exercising, woodwork. Some residents' stories about being able to set healthy boundaries in their lives. Prioritize for a placement in safe houses is given to individuals who identify as Indigenous women or gender diverse, those currently experience homelessness or lived unhoused and demonstrating other significant risk factors. In December 2024, a second women's safe house was built, the same model, and opened by MMF. They chose to call this house Franny's Place, named after Francine Demas, who began her journey to the spirit world December 23, 2023, at the age of 41. Francine was a strong advocate for her friends and relatives living unhoused. Anyone who would like to learn more about the development of Chelsea's Safe House since the end of 6-month Arch project of Franny's Place can speak with the MMF Southwest Region of Women and Gender Equality in Manitoba.
In addition to conducting holding stone assessments, Arch staff interviewed one of the residents of Chelsea Safe House that wished to remain anonymous. Her story will be read by Jennifer.
Why did you decide to move into Chelsea's house?
I was homeless before that, and it was an opportunity to get a roof over my head, try to straighten it out, and have support.
Has Chelsea's house made a difference to your safety?
Yes, it has. The staff there, they've been a really big help when I was going through things. A lot more stability. And the Arch program, just you guys coming over and just talking, it was very helpful. Even the questions that you guys would ask with those rocks and whatnot, that was pretty cool. Because then it got me thinking about it too, right? That was good stuff.
Is that the holding stones that you're referring to?
Yeah.
What things have helped you the most while you've been at Chelsea's house?
Just learning life skills and living in a community effort, being able to work on small projects, yeah, and the workers helping me with certain things too that are needed, like paperwork. Do you
have any recommendations for what could improve at Chelsea's house?
I mean, I don't know, it's pretty good, you know, for the safety and whatnot. New girls coming in, you know, we're all at different stages. So I can't really say anything to that. I mean, when it comes to clients there, some of us do more than others, and I feel like we're all adults here. But as adults, we need to have rules and follow the rules. There could be a few more rules applied to it, you know, like a little more stern, and originally that's what we signed up for, right? When we got in here?
So a little bit more structure is what you're saying.
Yeah, but all in all, it's good.
Have there been any changes in your life since you've been at Chelsea's house?
A lot more sobriety.
That's huge. How do you feel being in Chelsea's house now compared to when you first got there?
I feel like I'll be able to move on to the next step shortly. My confidence has gotten a lot better.
That's awesome.
It's been an experience, my journey through Chelsea's house. It's learning about culture and getting back into having the support as a community, as women. It's been an eye-opener. It's been really good, something I can carry on with me, learning to have compassion and grace.
During the interviews, many men shared about the connections they had to Indigenous culture when they were children. These times, often spent with grandparents or community members, were spoken about with a smile and sometimes a tear. Many men talked about a desire to reestablish those connections to culture and to the land. Ronnie Ann Chuck suggested more music, art, entertainment, cultural connections, planting food, and traditional medicines. For a number of interviewees, cultural connections, including smudging, helped them to heal and walk the good path. Several interviewees expressed a desire to learn or relearn their Indigenous languages. Juno wants to see more traditional people teaching. Newton Paul also wants to see more cultural connections and suggests more stuff could happen at the park. Several other of our relatives were also keen on cultural programming, particularly for younger people. They felt this was a positive way to spend time and nurture community. For some folks, culture is what helped them to reduce or stop their substance use. In the summer of 2024, men in downtown Brandon enjoyed participating in beading, soapstone carving, fishing, Ojibwe language games, lacrosse, traditional hand games, and bingo. Even men who were not actively participating in activities enjoyed watching and learning. We discovered many talents among our community, including artistic and language abilities. We believe that this program could successfully be implemented in other communities as the activities were welcomed and valued by men in ours.
Danse Marvin Spence Tisdegosen, Pipanapi Winutinida, Igua Brandon Megwats Newigan. Hello everyone, my name is Marvin Spence. I'm from South Indian Lake, Manitoba, although I've been living in Brandon now for about 9 years. It's been an amazing journey kind of living in Brandon. Met a lot of great people and things like that, and then started working with the GAP program, and then after I started working with the GAP program, they wanted me to kind of lead some groups and stuff like that, you know, and I didn't have a lot of culture experience or anything like that, so I got hooked up with my brother Sam here, and now we've been kind of hosting drum groups and stuff for the past year now, and it's been going really well. Like, we started a drum group called the Rolling Thunder Boys. It's just been a group of us boys, kind of, about 5 of us now, on and off, I guess. it was kind of funny the way we first started too. We started using just a coffee table. So that's how we were making our beats and singing along, just drumming on the coffee table. And then these wonderful ladies at the Arch program approached me one day and asked if I would accept a big drum. And I was beyond honored, you know, like it was amazing to have somebody come and ask me that, right? So I didn't know if I was ready though, you know, because I know that's a big honor and a big responsibility and things like that, right? So what I did is I went to go talk to my teachers, Tim and Sam, and just asked them, you know, like, they offered me a drum, you know, as a gift, and I'm not sure if I'm ready for it or not. Like, what do you guys think? And, you know, they talked to me, you know, told me that, you know, Marvin, we see what you're doing, you know, you're doing a really good job with these youth and stuff like that. You're a great role model, and we see the passion that you have for drumming and culture. So our thought is, if you're comfortable with it, accept that drum, you know. So I really took to what they said and, you know, decided to take that drum, you know, as a gift and stuff like that. So I was very honored to accept that gift. And that was, I believe, September sometime last year. So we've been using that big drum since then, and it's been really great, you know, pulling the boys together and stuff like that, and just doing our practices and learning these different songs. We started off more ceremony songs, right? But now we're branching off into powwow songs, so we're getting there. Another thing we did too is we opened up our drum groups to communities. So like Tuesday nights, we have our men's group 6:30 to 8:30. And it's open to community. Anyone can come and, you know, listen or participate, whatever they want to do, right? But it's been really good knowing that, you know, we're able to open up the group to community and stuff like that, and share our knowledge and share the culture, you know. So it's been really, really great. Yeah, I've just, you know, I feel really blessed to be able to share the culture, share the knowledge and things like that. It's really cool to think that, you know, like within our drum group, it's not just, we're not just Cree, we're not Ojibwe, we're not Dakota, you know, we're all those things, right? We got a Cree, we got Ojibwe, we got Dakota, we got OG Cree, right? But to us, like when we get around that drum, you know, that's not who we are, you know, we're brothers, we're all brothers around that drum, you know, so it's been very good to be able to share that with them, to share that with community. So now we've been kind of singing for events like this, and it's been amazing. And yeah, I'm very thankful and grateful for that. Thank you all very much.
During our initial interviews, 12 interviewees identified the inability to access phones as a barrier to contacting landlords or connecting with services. While some agencies have access to phones as part of their programming, interviewees talked about waiting in line to use a phone, time limits on phone usage, and not being able to receive callbacks from potential landlords. Many interviewees also discussed safety, mental health, and physical health concerns that could require calling emergency services. Arch purchased 20 basic flip phones to give out to Indigenous individuals living unhoused in Brandon. The phones were programmed with 9 contacts of community agencies and were loaded with a lucky SIM card with unlimited minutes for 1 month. Participants were informed that if they were to connect with the Arch team after 1 month and report on what they used the phone for, they would receive a top-up of another month of minutes. 16 out of 20 participants returned to the Arch team to report their phone usage. This program had far more successes than challenges. Many of the survey respondents shared that they were able to connect or reconnect with family and friends, including their children. The ability to connect with family also resulted in a few participants being able to find a place to sleep for a night when they otherwise would have been spending their night unsheltered downtown. 2 participants out of 16 respondents were able to secure housing during their first month with the phone. 88% stated that their cell phone made them feel safer in their daily life, and 94% of participants stated that they felt more prepared if an emergency were to happen. 2 of them were able to use their phone in cases of emergencies in the first month of use, and many others shared stories of how the phone made them feel safer while being visible in the community, walking at night, or even in their own residences. Participants of the program have enthusiastically shared how grateful they are to be provided with a cell phone and how it has changed their daily life. They have spoken about how their phone is their lifeline. It gives them an option to call someone when they feel like using substances. They can look out for their friends with serious medical conditions. Their doctors and workers can reach them, and they wouldn't have to face extreme weather conditions to contact agencies or services during winter months. 100% of survey respondents recommend this program to others in similar situations. The top 10 most commonly contacted numbers by phone users, other than private or unknown numbers, were medical numbers such as doctors, walk-ins, public health and pharmacies, financial institutions, transportation such as taxi companies or Brandon Transit, the Brandon Neighborhood Renewal Corporation where the community mailbox is housed, housing programs and property management companies, employment income and assistance, food services, various child and family services agencies, Arch staff, and mental health services.
"77 of our 102 interviewees were raised in part by someone other than their biological parent or parents. Though the actual number is likely higher, 47 of those folks chose to speak explicitly about being in foster care or group homes. For the vast majority of those people, their foster care experiences were not positive, as they were forced to move frequently, often changing communities and schools. Many told stories about unsafe placements. Several of our relations spoke about leaving foster care to go to places that they perceived were safer. A clear need for more safe, culturally appropriate foster parents, customary carers, and kinship carers was identified, particularly in the community or school district of the children, so that children do not have to leave their community and their school. Arch Brandon had planned on piloting an innovative way of seeking out and encouraging Indigenous people to consider becoming carers for our children. These cards have a picture drawn by Brian Moran on the front. Inside, the card reads, "I love the spirit in you. The next generation needs someone like you showing them the way. Have you considered becoming a kinship, customary, respite, or foster family? If you are interested in becoming a kinship, customary, respite, or foster family, or would like to learn more, please contact," with a list of Manitoba-based child protection authorities and agencies. The idea was that people would look around for Indigenous people they know who they believe would provide quality love and care for foster kids, and give them these cards to encourage them to consider becoming foster parents, kinship carers, or customary carers. The aim of these shoulder-tapping cards was to help Indigenous folks to encourage more people and the best qualified people that they know to become the carers of our children the carers that our children so desperately need, and also help empower our Indigenous people to choose who raises our children. Early community feedback on the cards was positive. On October 11th, 2024, the province of Manitoba announced sweeping changes to the foster care system. In light of these changes, Arch postponed research on these cards while these changes are rolled out. However, we still think that this approach might help encourage folks to consider the idea of becoming customary carers.
The following is an excerpt from a Métis man who participated in an interview in May of 2025 about his substance abuse. His story will be read by Marvin.
What kind of street drugs do you use?
I use meth.
During our interviews last year, a couple of people that we interviewed suggested that they use cannabis as an alternative to using hard drugs. What are your thoughts on this?
I like weed as an alternative because I don't have to worry about chasing a certain high.
So when you say you're not worried about chasing a certain high, does the cannabis take away that want?
Yeah, it does.
Are there any other changes that you notice when you smoke cannabis instead of using street drugs?
Yeah, I feel more laid back, definitely a lot more laid back and less anxious, less high-strung, and less time chasing the high. It also increases my appetite. It makes me hungry.
Is an appetite something you don't usually have when you're using other drugs?
Exactly, yeah.
Does it impact your sleep at all?
I think it actually helps my sleep sometimes when I get high before I go to bed. I think it really helps. It helps me relax. I think it actually is a painkiller.
Earlier in the interview, you mentioned that it does kind of eliminate the cravings that you have for other substances. Is there any other impact that cannabis has on your withdrawals that you've experienced?
Yeah, I find it makes my withdrawals a lot less worse.
What kind of things do you notice when you use weed to help with the withdrawals?
When I can't get high on meth and I have weed, I'm always still happy to use weed instead of meth to get high. I can always get meth later. Meth is something I can get all the time, so I just look at it like I can always get meth later. There's always tomorrow.
Is there anything else that you feel like sharing with me about your experience using cannabis?
No, just that I really love cannabis. It's my favorite drug out of everything that I use. I mean, I could smoke weed any time of the day. It don't matter. I can still get high.
The following is an excerpt from the interview from May of 2025 with a Dakota man who identifies as Chancho. This interview also focused on substance use. Who's reading today? And today, Landon will be reading for Chancho.
What kind of street drugs do you use?
Meth and marijuana. I use both at the same time to calm me down from the meth.
So the weed calms you down from the meth?
Yeah.
Are there any reasons that you choose to smoke weed?
It helps with my back pain.
Is back pain something that's been an ongoing issue with your life?
Yeah, since I was 15. I got slammed on cement.
Holy, I'm assuming something probably got damaged in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been using weed to help with that pain?
Yeah, I don't like taking pills.
When you smoke cannabis, do you notice a change at all with your street drug usage with withdrawal?
Not for me, no.
Are there any specific ways that it affects you at all?
It doesn't help me sleep, but I guess I smoke sativa. Indica makes me paranoid. The other stuff doesn't.
Okay, so sativa mellows you out.
And it doesn't make me hungry at all.
Okay, so are there any other insights that you'd like to share with me today about cannabis usage?
Weed is good.
During the ARCH interviews, some of the interviewees were using meth or other substances to self-medicate for health conditions and symptoms that might be better and more safely managed by using medical cannabis. A recent study from the University of British Columbia indicated that 78% of people who used cannabis reduced their overall street-obtained stimulant consumption, including meth. The use of meth can increase people's barriers to services, accurate assessments, and housing. It also frequently compounds their social, medical, and legal issues. The use of medical cannabis instead of street-obtained drugs may reduce contact with the criminal justice system, transmission of sexually transmitted bloodborne illnesses, exposure to high-risk scenarios in individuals, and risk of toxic drug poisoning. A study out of Vancouver found that the use of cannabis for harm reduction is a common strategy among people who use drugs. The College of Family Physicians of Canada offers the following. Physicians may consider prescribing cannabis for harm reduction. In some individuals with progressed substance use disorders, physicians may ask to develop treatment plans that involve the use of cannabis as a route to reduce the patient's use of other more harmful substances, or to avoid their buying contaminated street marijuana. Evidence in the literature for cannabis use for harm reduction in severe addiction disorders is fairly recent and supports possible positive outcomes. As a result of the ARCH interviews and literature review, ARCH Brandon sought to run an observational study of medical cannabis as a harm reduction tool for Indigenous people living unhoused in Brandon. ARCH obtained permission to conduct an observational study from Health Canada. However, there was no funding available for the medical cannabis required to complete this study. While medical cannabis is covered under Veterans Affairs and some private health insurance plans, medical cannabis is not covered for status Indigenous people under non-insured health benefits or for Manitoba Métis Federation citizens. EIA does not cover medical cannabis. However, 2 forms of synthetic THC are eligible under the Manitoba Drug Benefits Formulary and thus covered by EIA. ARCH's findings suggest that further research into medical cannabis as a harm reduction alternative to meth and other street drugs could be beneficial.
Matilda Jenai was a wise, soft-spoken Cree woman from Sapatuayak. She generously shared her story with the ARCH team in January of 2024. Matilda began her journey to the spirit world in April of 2024 at the age of 64. Her story will be read by Danielle.
Were you very connected with your culture?
Yes.
What kind of things did you do?
We had culture camps every summer, powwows every summer, and I go help out there. I also like to teach my granddaughters to dance or to make their own dresses.
So you grew up doing that? Were you out on the land a lot, or was there hunting or fishing?
Yeah,
Can I ask who taught you things like that?
my husband. But my husband took off. That was 11 years ago. Now today I've been here since 3 years. My house burnt down in Swan River, so they sent me here. So just recently I end up in the hospital just like every other month. I only go home 2 days and then I go back again. Diabetic, high blood pressure, all that.
So you ended up in the hospital when you were living in Brandon or in Swan River?
Here and there.
Can I ask how they've treated you in the hospital?
Well, here they're so prejudiced. I went outside for a smoke, then I went back to my room. There was a nurse there. She says, "So, how's your garbage picking out there?" So I just threw my cup at her. The next day I never seen her because I was talking to that supervisor or whatever. I've never seen her after. Maybe she got fired, I don't know.
So you grew up in Sapatuayak?
Yeah, I used to grow up in Sapatuayak. I lived 5 miles off the reserve. I lived across the lake. It's 5 miles. In the wintertime, we would use sleds or ski-doos or whatever, sometimes horses.
To cross the lake? What about the house you grew up in?
It was all right. I got 7 brothers, 7 sisters, but there's only 3 of us left. 3 sisters and my brothers. I have 7 brothers, and they all got twins. One of them got 2 sets, and none of us girls have twins. My brother died recently. He took one of his twins. I never got to see. I never got to go to his funeral. But it's better off like that. I've never seen the way he was, not like in a box.
What did you guys like doing when you were younger?
Go walking around, hunt rabbits or jumpers or whatever. Always been boat riding.
That must have been fun.
My husband was a good hunter. I don't know why he took off. All my kids and my grandkids call him Dad, and I just about lost it. Then I had a chair on the, but my kids were standing there and they were crying, "Mom, please, don't, we love you." So I got down because it's just not worth it. Sometimes I found it so hard, but it was so easy, but we still learn how to make the moccasins, the dresses, all the making hides.
Can I ask who raised you growing up?
My mom, my dad. But my dad died when he was 73. And my mom just died about 4 years on. My great-great-grandpa was 101 when he passed away.
That's pretty old. What did he do for a living?
He was a chief. At first, the reserve was just bush, straight bush. There was no breaks. And then they started building houses and all that. Now these days, our elders are going. They're gone. Later on, my uncle. I only have 3 uncles, no aunties. Sometimes I cry myself to sleep. I slept with one of my babies. They all said, "Mama, you're crying." I tried to explain, "But why? But why?" They kept saying.
Explain what, can I ask?
Well, try to explain that I cry myself to sleep. And I told them I'm just thinking about Kukum and Shum and Chapan, and they understood.
That's a lot of people in your time. And you grow up around them with your grandparents and your great-grandparents?
Yeah, my dad's side and my mom's side.
They all lived in Sapatoyak?
My mom passed there away. Their parents and my dad's parents passed away too.
Matilda wasn't the only interviewee whose journey was homelessness was the result of a house fire. 13% of Indigenous people lived unhoused in Brandon have had some home fire or in some instances more than one as a part of their journey into homelessness. Through our research, we've learned that culturally appropriate and context-specific fire safety critical for preventing homelessness, loss of property and homes, and keeping people safe. Fire safety education is usually approached with a colonial perspective and designing for people lived in standard American homes such as apartments, buildings, single-family dwellings. However, people can live in a variety of different situations, including transitional housing, couch surfing, overcrowded homes, vacant buildings, homeless encampments, under structures and buildings, sheds, campers, trap houses, or even motels. A harm reduction-based fire safety approach of acknowledgement, the challenges and realities that people face. This approach recognizes that not everyone has the same culture or lifestyle, and as a result may use different cooking appliances, have more people in the household, cooking using diverse methods, heat their home in different ways, or undertake unique activities in their homes. It comes with understanding that drugs, alcohol, illicit activities, risky lifestyle, and other risk factors may be an enduring part of some people's lives. This approach acknowledges that while all risk factors cannot be removed, steps can be taken to reduce the risk of home fires and to empower people to take action if home fires does occur. This focuses customizing training and resources to be culturally rooted and help community prevent fires and to know what to do in a fire. This approach does not prevent arson, but can help people respond to fires that have started by arson. A wise Cree elder offered us a teaching. He said that when we think about fire safety, we can't just teach people to avoid the danger of fire. We need to include teachings from the Indigenous fire keepers so that people can learn about sacredness of the fire and the important roles that fire plays in our lives, such as Indigenous traditional protocols, ceremonies, cooking food, and keeping us warm. Arch pilot a series of fire safety events that was rooted into the Indigenous culture, and we're inclusive to all of our relatives, including those living unhoused or unsafe housing. This consisted of fire safety information for people living in the homeless camps, such as demonstrating on how far to place a tent from a fire and the risk of various heat sources. We distributed fire alternatives such as rechargeable heating clothing, thermoses, lighting, and to reduce the need for the fires in the camps. We also gave out fire suppression supplies for camps, and participant with live experience told her story about a fire tent. Our amazing speaker, Landon Amiant, a Métis Fire in Recovery, spoke about the harm reductions approaches, fire safety such as using microwave instead of a stove under the influence, not smoking in bed, cooling meth pipes on non-flammable surfaces. We also handed out some harm reductions fire safety supplies. The event included Indigenous elements, including teachings from the fire keeper and distribution of fire keeping bundles, 2 kinds of fire safety bingo, Indigenous fire safety handouts and coloring sheets, big drumming, Indigenous food, and mini round dance. Participants also learned about how to fry bannock safely in using lids to put out the grease fires. We also include other mainstream fire safety elements such as plastic fire hats, tours of the Brandon fire truck, and general fire safety presentations, general fire safety brochures. We distributed fire cooking safety supplies such as thermometers, fire blankets, universal lids, and oven mitts. There was lots of laughter and a fun presentation of these 2 days, so much so that all the evaluation completed after the last event indicated that they would attend another fire safety event. We explored devices to reduce fires to vulnerable people, including heat-censored automatic microwave and shut-off, heat alarms, and stove on reminders. We provided information and test samples of these items for agencies to try for their participants. In addition to including Sparky and Chippy the mascots at our fire safety event, we had been piloting a Flinty Fire Safety Sasquatch mascot. I'd like you to say hi to our Flinty the Fire Safety mascot.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Landon, and I've been instructed that I've only got 5 minutes to speak, so otherwise I'm going to get a cuff upside the head. So I'm going to set my timer because I don't want that. Start. Okay, starting now. Okay, so I've been a firefighter out in, I'm from Portage la Prairie. I'm a Métis, Red River Métis. Oh, there's my crowd over there. Love ya. So I've been a firefighter out in Portage la Prairie for over 20 years now. I came to school in Brandon here at the Emergency Services College in 2004, I think. But anyway, I'm also a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. I've been in recovery now. I've been sober for 5.5 years, over 5.5 years. Thank you. So when I was going to school, you take part of the paramedic. I'm a horrible paramedic, so nobody have a heart attack around me, okay? But one thing I do know about is alcohol use and drug use. I do know about that, unfortunately. But so I'm just going to talk to you quick about some safety measures that you can do for when you're using. I'm not here to preach to you about getting sober, so just try to give you some ideas, safe practices while you're using, because like most of us don't have very much property if we're in the homeless community. So we want to protect what we do have, right? Because if there are fires, only we are going to suffer. The property owner usually has insurance, right? Do we have insurance on our stuff? Probably not. So we want to protect it as much as we can. So do things like using non-combustible containers like ashtrays to put out cigarettes, any drugs that require fire. You want to make sure that you use something non-combustible to put them out. And make sure to put out well, especially nowadays. Well, we got a good rain today, so it kind of messed up my speech. But, you know, we've had some pretty dry conditions lately, so make sure in extinguishing all any tobacco or drugs that require fire. You know, just keeping combustible things away from heat sources. I know not all of us have the luxury of home with heat in it. So we have to do what we have to do to stay warm, right? So just make sure that whatever we're doing, we're keeping combustible things like even clothing, stuff like that, keeping them away from that heat source, because our clothing is limited too. So we don't want to be losing that. So keep that away from the heat source. Try using, I know a lot of us who use drugs like to use torches because they're hot. They get our drugs nice and hot real quick, right? But try to use lighters. Lighters have, and don't mess with lighters. They got those, you have to mechanically hold the lighter in order to keep it going. Torches will keep going, you know, even when we take our hand off of it. So we want to try to use lighters when we can. Try to have somebody within our group of drug users, that somebody, I always call it the least effed up person. You know, there's always somebody who doesn't get as messed up as everybody else. So if you're that person, kind of take charge and more or less take care of all your homies. You know what I mean? Make sure that everybody's safe. Make sure they're not falling asleep with cigarettes or anything else that could hurt them, hurt you, or hurt your property. If you're that person, you know, try to really know your drug use, the drug that you use. Have Narcan kits if that's the applicable cure to an OD. Make sure you know how to use them. Know your drug. Know it inside and out. There's lots of information online. Just research it. No, that's the best way you can be prepared. I'm going to see what my time's at here. Oh, 20 seconds. Wow. That went quick. I don't want to slap in the head, so I'm going to wrap up here. Just try to be careful, guys, okay? Because fire damages a lot. Damages property, but most of all our lives, right? How many people have we lost due to fire? So really, really try to be careful out there. Oh, my alarm's going off now. Stop. Yes. Yes, I can hear you. So try to keep each other safe, everything. Use your resources. The local fire department, oh, by the way, I'm not speaking on behalf of Brandon Fire Department or even Portage Fire Department. I'm speaking on behalf of myself. But utilize your resources. Your local fire departments have a lot of resources, and it's usually free. So utilize those resources and get knowledgeable on some fire safety, and most of all, be knowledgeable about the drug you use, because it could not only save your friend's life, but your own. Okay? Thank you.
I just want to say, oh. Thank you to, is it Ellen? Thank you to everyone for coming out this afternoon. Thank you to Housing, Infrastructure and Communities Canada, whose funding made this event possible. Thank you to all of our readers and participants who made our vision come to life. And thank you to our wonderful interviewees. Without your knowledge and stories, these projects would never have been possible. After Tim shares a closing prayer and Marvin and the Rolling Thunder Boys close out the event, please join us downstairs to share in Stu Bannock and your own stories and memories.
If you want to stand, close everything off, there with me. Bonjour, je vous souhaite money too. Grandmother, grandfather's creator. Forgive me for this foreign language that I'm using. My language was taken away from me, but today I'm getting it back slowly. I asked grandmother's grandfather's creator to watch over each and every one of us. Today was a very educational day, a very emotional day. It opened some wounds as well too, hearing these stories of our relatives. With my own experience as well on the earth. I asked grandmother's grandfather's creator to watch each and every one of us. To walk with that strength, that pride, that truth that we carry. To walk in a good way and have good health. I also ask grandmother's grandfather's creator to bless that food that's we're able to be caring for. Bless it, give it that strength, that good health that we need. We replenish ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. I ask also Mother Earth, thank you for what you do, for technology too. I ask time to come away, to watch our children, watch over the ones that are sick, watch the ones that are incarcerated, watch all of humanity to find that love, that compassion, to find out who we are in this world. So we have our place too as First Nations people, beginning with Métis, because us too, we have that right to be here. We are the First Peoples in this world. So I ask God to look after each and every one of our partners, our families. This is all making the harmony, harmony.